It is the Matt Mosley Show. And, right here from the home studio, and Kev, as only can happen right as we come on, I love it, man. I like to get that light. Look at that light just coming right into those glasses. Right as we start the show, we get somebody out there on the mower. That'll be good. I like to get that in the background. Reminder today. Yesterday, boy, people love that Josh Cameron interview we had, and that got passed around, and that's got thousands upon thousands of views, and so appreciative of that. Everybody's feedback on that, including his mom, Andrea, Cameron, and just what a neat interview that was, and so we are appreciative for all the feedback on that. Kev, even though it happened a few hours ago now, we had to wait till now to story went up at about 11 local time, but I think it's still appropriate to use the breaking news sounder for what I'm about to announce. Charge. Oh man. Kev knows what was coming. From the group that invented the phrase F them picks. We don't say it. I think we're probably allowed to. I don't know what the YouTube rules are, but unlike McAfee and others, we try not to drop F-bombs, S-bombs, A-bombs, anything. But get some bombs over there and hitting the Iranians right now, but we won't get into all that. We got a lot going on around the world. All right. But Kev, let's do the Rams and Chiefs trade. They have agreed to a trade, sending all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie. I mean, this man was a part of Super Bowls. This man was there. He's an all-pro corner. I mean, let's not act like the guy's not a good player. All-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie has been sent to the Los Angeles Rams for a package of draft picks that includes the number 29 selection in the 2026 NFL Draft. Sources told Adam Schefter on Wednesday. Along with number 29, the Chiefs will receive the 2026 fifth and sixth round picks and a 2027 third round pick. So now the Chiefs have 2 first round picks, and they joined the Cowboys. We kind of thought, the Cowboys own this draft. Well, the Chiefs have kind of said, hey, hold on. We'd like to get involved in this thing. And I was looking up to see if I had my fan going. I'm not like looking up to the heavens. Although I kind of am when it comes to these Rams. And that's why I brought it up. They were the original F-dem picks. And they came up with that phrase because they almost never hold on to their first round pick. And this goes way back. And you can go back to whether they bring in Matthew Stafford. You can go back to the time when they traded all those picks to let's see, Jeff Fisher was there. I'm just trying to think of what they did. The Commanders came rolling up that board to try to get RG3. They wanted to draft the quarterback. They did. And the Rams just continued over the years to but they send all their picks to get these big time players, whether it's linebacker, where that pick they got, Jared Verse ended up a Rams. I mean, I'm just trying to think of all the things they've done over the years but they really like to trade those first round picks, and they end up a lot of times getting big time players. and they did here with Trent McDuffie. Did you see that one I sent you, Kev, that showed like all the things they've done with their first round picks over the years? I mean, it's comical. It's a whole way of life for them. It's just like, well, I don't know. What do we really need? What do we really need with this, with this pick? And they get the player and they bring in all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs. This led Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He was among several Kansas City players to react on social media after news of the trade broke, writing simply, "Damn." We will say that word, Kev. "Damn." In a post on X on Wednesday. Rams general manager Les Snead said, after an after-action review, the goal is to start figuring out, is there an all-pro you could add? He said this yesterday, and they went out and did it. Cornerback was a top need for the Rams going into free agency, as they had 4 pending free agents at the position. In August, on a back-to-school event, McDuffie was asked what other team he'd like to play for if he didn't play for the Chiefs. And he said, "You're going to get me in trouble. Let's think. If I could play for another team, I'd probably want to play close to my family, so that would probably be the LA Rams, so that my family could come see every single game." He's from Southern California, played his senior year of high school at St. John Bosco High School, also played for the Rams passing game coordinator, DB coach Jimmy Lake at the University of Washington in 2019. Wow. Now, they still have one first-round pick, the number 13 pick, after trading back with the Falcons during the 2025 draft. They've made one first-round pick since 2017 when they took Jared Verse, 19th overall in 2024. Good pick. Good pick. Oh, there it is. There it is, Kev. Sorry, I was looking down at my phone. This is what the Rams, how the Rams' own first-round pick has been used since 2017. It's very funny. It's very on brand. And they finally stayed there and took somebody in 2024. Now, it's hard to argue with these guys because, I mean, they're either winning in Super Bowls, playing in Super Bowls, or playing in NFC title games, something the Cowboys never do, something the old Dallas Cowboys never do. The Rams are always sitting there knocking on the door. And this is their strategy. It's the F them pick strategy. Kev, it's different. It's funny, but it's hard to say it doesn't work. It's hard to sit here and go, "Oh man, I cannot believe they do this," because they get big time players and they acquire more assets when they do this. And they have a GM and head coach that seem to really work together in Les Snead and Sean McVay. A lot of times these GMs and head coaches are not on the same page. Kevin, let me point to you the New York Giants right now. How long will that guy, Sean or Shane, I think they call him Shane, Joe Shane, their GM, how long do you think that match will work? Let me give you the answer. About a year, maybe through next season. And then the Giants will go, "Well, John Harbaugh does not really totally believe in this guy," because Shane thought he was getting hired to make all the decisions. Now John Harbaugh's in there making all the decisions. This thing's not going to last long. Kev, look here. I got out kind of it's got a little wrinkle to it, sadly. But I got out a shirt I hadn't put on in a good long while. And this is one you can just kind of, on a nice weather, you go out by the lake, go out next to the Brazos and spend a little time in this shirt. It's just one that I kind of reach back in the closet. There's every once in a while you're just like, golly, why don't I ever wear that? Why have I not had that shirt on in like a year? And I just said, okay, we're going to throw that on today. Kev, big time guest at 1:30. He's the NFL. He's the lead writer for NFL.com when it comes to their draft. He's the lead draft expert for NFL.com. Any way you cut it. And on TV, their man is Daniel Jeremiah. In print, their man is Eric Edholm. Eric is going to be with us. He's made his way home from the combine, and we're going to get into a lot of stuff with him beginning at 1:30. All right, so that's a big, hey, here we go. In fact, I see it up there. Kevin's put it up there as far as our big tease. All right, Kev, let's also, we had to start with that trade today. We also, Kevin, have your guy who's officially a free agent now since the Colts did the weird transition tag thing with Daniel Jones. It's not used very often, but leave it to the Colts to get out there and go, let's try this. Nobody uses the transition tag anymore. Let's give this thing a go. Let's see what happens. Let's see if anybody tries to come in here and get him. Let's see what we can do with old Daniel Jones. Let's put the transition tag on him. He's still going to get paid well. It's just not as well as if they put the full franchise tag on him, because then that number gets way up there. All right? That number gets up there around $43 million a year. They don't change. They save, as Kevin was telling us, about $6 million by putting the transition tag. What have you accomplished, Colts? I don't know. Maybe you're trying to lure a little trade in here. You're trying to lure somebody to come in here and do business with you. All right. I was about to, I don't watch the Colts as much as Kevin, so I had to kind of zero in there on that patch, but that's for Jim Irsay, obviously. We lost Jim Irsay in that sad way. Jim had an addiction issue, and it looks like he did, obviously was not able to outrun that. Kev, on a nicer note, on a brighter note, and I don't know if it's good for Colts fans, but the Pierce kid, Alec Pierce, the guy, and boy, Kevin, I was trying to do some calculations, doubting Kevin's numbers on something, and Kevin was absolutely right. The man loves getting downfield. And when you throw it to this young man, it's about 21 yards a pop. And you're just like, what? That doesn't make sense. That's what I said. They just don't throw it to him that much. 46 catches, 1,000 yards. Do the math. It comes out to about 21 yards per catch. Now, Kevin, here's what's going to happen in free agency. Teams have to decide, is this man a number one wide receiver? And that's even what the Colts had to ask themselves. And while they love him, and I'm sure, Kevin, you love him as a fan of the Colts and as someone who talks about the Colts a lot, I think the answer is probably no. That doesn't mean he's not great. I'm just saying he does not seem like a guy to me that you treat like CeeDee Lamb and go, hey, the market for a number one is like 35 to 40 million a year. Here we go, Alec Pierce. The teams that would do something like that, I think, would regret it. Nothing against the kid. It's just like, I think what Kevin was telling us yesterday, Kevin, he benefits from having all these people involved in the offense. You got a great running back. Who's the guy, Kevin, on the other side that also puts up big numbers for the Colts?
You got Michael Pittman and Josh Downs.
Yes.
So you got a full slew of weapons, and a lot of people are going to stack the box to try to stop Jonathan Taylor, so that provides room. It was actually in 2023 when they didn't actually give him the ball that much. He actually ran more distance, ran further than any receiver in the NFL. They didn't get him the ball, but he ran downfield a whole lot.
Do you ever see him? You were talking about the guy who moves the sticks. Downs, I guess, is what you were referring to, does that. Have you seen Pierce at times run the full route tree? Do you see the man catch the ball on a slant? Do you see the man make a tough third down catch over near the sideline or something? Does it happen on occasion?
Yeah. He's actually improved that and increased those kinds of things along the way.
It's just, I don't think a team's going to, that's what's going to be interesting. Because the Colts know him better than anybody.
Yeah.
But I've seen this happen, by the way. I've seen Tony Romo turn Miles Austin into a monster. I saw him one year turn LaRon Robinson into a monster. So these teams, whether it be, I think in LaRon Robinson's case, it was the Jacksonville Jags. They go, come on, Mr. Robinson. We're going to load up and we're going to pay you a big old signing bonus. How does, I don't know, back then, a huge signing bonus for a receiver like that was probably $16 to $20 million. And Jacksonville said, yep, we'll take some of that. And then they realized that they don't have Tony Romo as their quarterback. They probably had Gerard or somebody at the time. I don't know, maybe going back too far. Anyway, it doesn't always work. Miles Austin goes to San Diego, the team that was known as San Diego at the time, and as I recall, probably didn't do that much. But boy, Tony made them a lot of money. They all need to love up on Uncle Tony, because as much maligned as he was, and no, he and Dak haven't won enough playoff games, all of that, anybody who says Tony Romo is not a good NFL quarterback is not a serious person. All right? Half the league would have been killing to have Tony Romo as their quarterback. Only thing Tony was missing was what Peyton Manning did, or what DeMarcus Ware did, or what Stafford did. He needed to go somewhere else late in the career and help lead them to a Super Bowl. That's what he needed. He needed to do it at a different place. But sadly, Tony, his back or whatever kind of played out on him. And they threw huge, broadcasting money at him. All right, Kev, we'll have our man. He's used to doing radio with me, Kev. All my longtime radio people, I always worry a little bit on the first time they do the thing, because I do have friends, Kevin, like Chuck Cooperstein, who just don't. They're such huge radio people that getting on the video can be a little bit of a chore. But I think Eric will do it. Eric's one of those few people that I guarantee you they beg him to do more stuff on air at NFL Network, and he's like, sorry, I'm writing today. Sorry, I'm working on the mock. I can't do that today. No, I'm working on the mock. So we'll get him on here at 1:30. Kev, let's also put up the thing about what the Cowboys have done today. I meant to kind of start there, but this other stuff really is more interesting to me because I see the Cowboys do this every year. All right, so this is not it, but it's worth bringing up. Cowboys have restructured Dak, CD, and one of those defensive tackles. Have they already redone Quinnen's deal? Anyway, they have so much money tied up into these defensive tackles. $20 million per tackle. Osa, Quinnen, the whole gang. And it's, it's what they do. It's what they do. I mean, Kenny Clark, sorry. I was just sitting there like, wait, who's the third one? Kenny Clark. So they've redone, they've restructured, and they are now under the cap. They can do more if they need to. All right. You don't care about wait, what are they going to do with CD's signing bonus? Or what are they, or this year's salary? How will they prorate this? You don't, if you care, go to Todd Archer, ESPN.com, look at his Twitter, and he might lay it out for you. But what you care about is they freed up enough space to go do their thing. Because they're the Cowboys, Kev, what was out there on one of the leading headlines on ESPN.com? Of course, it's what the Cowboys did, reworking the deals. Cowboys rework Prescott, Lamb, and Smith deals. All right. Tyler Smith. Sorry. I was telling you one of the defensive tackles. And not that they can't still do that, but they're getting ready for the first of the league year. Kev, I think that starts on the official first day is the 13th. I believe March 13th. Kev will come on here. He loves to correct me. So if I've got that wrong, Kevin will appear on your screen and he'll correct me. But I think that's about right.
That's right.
All right.
You're right.
Okay.
That's correct.
That's what I really prefer is when you come on and tell me how correct I am.
But there is the legal tampering period, but
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of really
they're already doing it.
Right.
But they do let the legal, and during the legal tampering period, we'll start hearing about deals. All right. But the Cowboys were nearly $55 million over the cap before the moves. The restructuring cleared around $66 million in space. While the Cowboys are under the cap, they will need more room to be as aggressive as owner and GM Jerry Jones said the team will be when free agency begins. The Cowboys have wide receiver George Pickens on the cap at $27.3 million, but a long-term deal would give them more room to spend. All right, get the deal done. Would he sign for 3 years at $32 million a year? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe so. Remember who his agent is. He's working with the same guys who had Micah Parsons. Remember what happened there? That was an angry time. That was an angry time. Jones said from last week's combine, we'll have some more Jerry later in the program. We'll also do our Campus Confidential at around 2 or 2:15 today because we got a lot of college basketball. Baylor plays at Houston tonight, men's. That's not fun. The women's Big 12 basketball has already started. The women's tournament's being played as we speak. Kev, have you seen that new glass floor? How about that, man? LED lights, the whole shebang. All right.
I saw somebody say 99.9% chance that some college kid's going to hack that thing.
That's good. I like that. But this is from Jerry last week, Kevin. I want you to know that the only way to push more out is for me to go borrow some of my future, okay? Expect me to go borrow some of my future. There it is. There it is. I like Jerry, kind of like it's an old Western kind of thing. I'll go borrow some of my future. Fans are like, how much future does Jerry have? At least till he's 100. Folks, the man is not going anywhere. All right? Colts may have lost the late, great Jim Irsay. Jerry somehow did a deal with the devil. And I'm not saying he's lived the healthiest lifestyle in the world, but the man functions. He functions on not much sleep and on billions of dollars. And he's taken good enough care of himself. I think he eats okay, and he drinks, but he doesn't drink that much. And he's not hitting the pills or anything. He might have had a little stuff done to his face, a couple of injections. Okay, we could all use some of those. He's done some of that, but the man will live till he's 100. I assure you of that. I don't know how long I'll live, how Kevin will live. Got no clue. But I can assure you that Jerry will live to 100, okay? Because I can just tell. I just know these things. All right, we will have the draft guru from NFL.com, Eric Edholm, joins us next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same day or next day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. No reputable company or government agency will ever ask you to pay them with gift cards, Bitcoin, or a person-to-person payment app. Scammers use these options because the money can't be traced. Just don't do it.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
All right, Matt Mosley Show. I only take off my sunglasses for the guest I truly respect. And this happens to be one of those. No, I always take them off. No, actually, though, a guy like this, Eric Edholm from NFL.com, he deserves. Oh man,
the hair's going crazy.
I like
messing with the dog before I got.
The hair looks fine to me. I mean, you've got
right.
It's kind of coming back in up there. My goodness, that's good.
I only wear the reading glasses to see hosts of your caliber. I just wanted to say that, you know.
Now this is my most comfortable state, you know. That's the usual
I love
Mosley way, the Wayfarers and all. But those are newer glasses than I've seen that you have on there. And I got to say, those are
$11
nice
glasses from Walgreens. So top notch, man.
You go in there. I'm always a sucker for those at CVS or Walgreens. Those vitamin deals they have. I don't need any of that stuff, right? But it's buy one, get one free. And I'm like,
On it.
How can I not buy something for $25 if I'm going to get like a $25 value? So I
Can't pass
am
that
the
up.
guy. Yeah. How are you? And how was combine? How was your combine? How many was this for you? Do you keep up?
Good
And
question.
what-
Yeah, I think my first combine, I'm trying to think, would have been 2003. So I go way back. Now they've actually moved the location about 3 or 4 times in that I can say that I've been at every single one of them since then. I don't go far back as the 90s and all those the guys who've been there forever, but I've been to a few, and this year was okay. I think it was a little lacking in star power, especially in terms of who worked out, who ran, who didn't. Not to say that there weren't some terrific performances, there were, but I kind of pushed back gently at this talk about the fastest classes ever and all this stuff, because the number of people running, first of all, the number of prospects is down about 5%, and then the number of people participating is also down too. So little tiny bit disappointing overall, but always a good trip.
All right. And do you prefer the Senior Bowl, the Combine? I mean, I'm sure over the years you've hit some of these pro days, and that's kind of fun to be on campus and do all that. We'd love to get you to Waco someday. Of course, I would host that visit. But where do you feel like you get the best stuff? Because for people that don't know, some of the stuff happens later in the evening, right?
Yeah.
The executives are moving around, and you can post up at a bar here and there, and you've got friends over the years that you like in the league and all that kind of stuff. But from a just learning about players, which of those events do you get the most out of, would you say?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've thought about this a lot over the years. I'll say this, the people that I've built up relationships with, agents, coaches, scouts, everyone else, assistant GMs, everyone from the top to the bottom. I tend to have more chances to see them in Mobile for the Senior Bowl, and a little more time to stretch our legs, talk a little. This year was different in that, boy, people weren't out and about, so you had to kind of do it at the stadium a little bit more, and look around some corners and make sure you didn't miss anybody. At the Senior Bowl, maybe at night, at the Combine rather, that's where it's a little more centrally located. It's a little easier to find people out on the street and that sort of thing. Not that I'm stalking anybody, would never do that, of course. But I'll say this, in terms of just learning about players, eye test, seeing them firsthand, nothing beats Mobile, because, you're watching some actual football, and that matters. The Combine, obviously, a little bit more medical testing, athletic testing, interviewing, that sort of thing. But the information that I get about the draft tends to be a little bit more accurate, because teams have had their meetings and stuff. And so they kind of know their strategy a little bit better, and they know what they're hearing around the league a little bit better too. So I every year I remind myself, when I hear stuff coming out of the draft, or out of the Combine rather, that tends to be the most accurate info draft wise when it comes to end of April, because things change, and obviously there are smoke screens out there, and different things happen between now and then. And I feel like it gets a little muddled in between then. So I would say the info I get in Indianapolis is a little stronger as it relates to how like the first round will go and how prospects are rated and that sort of thing.
Okay, and I noticed you were asked to weigh in on this thing. We'll call it the arms race. The length of arms was a big story. Isn't it funny? One year it was hands.
Yep.
And that was the Pickett, right? Had the small hands, and maybe we now put more value into big hands because of his career. I don't know. It's probably not enough of a sample setting, but the arms for these edge rushers, and then also cornerbacks are interesting. Offensive linemen, like when you talk to people, I mean, that's it. Ruben Bain, unbelievable player. And knowing you probably didn't dock him a lot for being a short arm guy, but still it's one of the factors. Like, how alarming is it when a guy, Cassius Howell was another one that didn't, and again, he's a different kind of player. He's got a little more twitch, a little more speed, maybe a little more bend than Ruben Bain, so maybe the arms don't matter as much. But like, how much do you kind of factor that in? And when you talk to people, like, how big a deal it was that?
Well, first of all, there's a quick little funny story from your that involved me. Was I think the original, I could be wrong, there may have been somebody before him, but the original hand size guy was Jared Goff. Because I remember walking into the Indianapolis Convention Center, seeing a personnel guy and saying, just, hey, what's up? Any interesting numbers on the weigh-ins? And he said, well, Jared Goff has 9-inch hands. And I went immediately from there to Goff's press conference an hour later or whatever, and actually asked Jared Goff about the small hand thing. And he didn't care for the question too much. And he kind of shot back at me a little bit. And I always remember that moment. Everybody's like, ooh, you're the small hands guy. So yeah, we have switched body parts now. This year is the short arm year. This is the short arm draft class. So it really applies to those two guys you mentioned, I think, most of all. It also applies to Spencer Fano. I think the left tackle, or the right tackle / left tackle at Utah. I think he can play all 5 positions, but unusually short. And you have to look historically and say, geez, a lot of these guys especially in Howell's build, like you said, he's the 6'2", 245, maybe 250 pound rusher, more of a twitchy speed guy. If offensive tackles are just going to kind of keep him at bay and just, be able to keep him off their chest and reach him when they get past them and things like that. So it may apply a little bit more to him. Whereas Ruben Bain, when I watched his tape, he can win in so many different ways. He can win with power. He can win with ferocity. He can win with a secondary move. He can win from behind, different ways, and so I feel like there's maybe a little bit more variety to his game. I wouldn't be shocked to see him kick inside a little bit. Aaron Donald had 32-inch arms. Did that ever hurt him? No, So again, I don't know that it's and we've known about Bain's arms and suspected Howell's arm length for almost a year, so we've had this information in the draft world for a while. I always tell people, don't double count it. Don't penalize a guy twice. If we knew about it before, factor that in. If they're longer than we expected, you can adjust, but they came in right where everyone thought. I think he's a top 10 pick. I think he's, at worst he falls to Dallas at 12, but man, I'd be stunned, especially in this draft, Matt, where it's really a beauty in the eye of the beholder. Top of the draft, the first 10, 12, 14 picks. I don't know that there's a lot separating them. I don't think there's anybody who's head and shoulders better than anybody else. And if they are, maybe they're a running back like Jeremiah Love, or a safety like Caleb Downs. And those are positions that aren't as, important, I guess, on the big picture.
The Cowboys at that 20 pick, some of you guys have the guy from Clemson, the cornerback from Clemson.
Avion Terrell, yeah.
Terrell going there. I've also seen Akeem Messidor, who is just interesting. He and Bain were both great. And people may ding Messidor a little bit because Bain was so great, right? It's like, wait, did this guy benefit because this guy was so great? If you're sitting there and you're thinking about the Cowboys, let's say they get somebody like Bain, Ruben maybe goes down to number 12, or they get a great line. Where's Styles, by the way? Sonny Styles, because for a while he was, and you don't want to overreact to the combine, but yet how can you not go, oh my gosh? I'm sure for you, having watched tape of him and heard about him for a long time, it was like, what he did at the combine just confirmed things, right? Now, it may have been a little better than people thought, because my gosh, it was incredible. But isn't it funny how it can go from everybody giving the Cowboys Sonny Styles to after the combine, it's like, oh no, Sonny Styles never gets down to number 12.
Yeah. And I'll say some of it is, for instance, there was a lot of chatter at night and other times during the week about certain teams really having an affinity for Styles. And I think it may have even been, I have to think, but it may have been before he worked out. So I could, or maybe it was the night after, but this talk was already out there. And one of the teams was the Giants at 5. I could see that being his ceiling, maybe. I suppose the Jets, if they liked him better than Arvell Reese, they could go that direction. There's so much to like about Sonny Styles. I mean, he's a former safety. He moves like it. He's just starting to kind of hone his instincts, but he was so good last year. Granted, probably one of the most talented defenses in college football history, or one of the best anyway. But he was on a play-to-play basis. He might have been a better impact player last year than Arvell Reese was. Now Reese might be a little better prospect overall, but I don't think Sonny's getting out of the top 10. I kind of got that feeling, and whether it's the Giants at 5, I could certainly see a few other teams in between there and 12 being very interested in him. The position, again, it's like we're starting to see a little bit more emphasis put on linebacker. For a long time, as you know, there was, teams that only have 2 on the field. It was more nickel was the new base, and unless you could cover and or pass rush or do both, then you weren't valued as much. Or, I guess if you were a 3-4 edge linebacker, that's a little different story. But he's an off the ball guy. But I think with teams cycling back to the run game, he's going to be an important piece up front. Back to your Dallas question, if they do go with an edge at 12, then you start thinking about obviously secondary. I could see that being a possibility. Terrell would be in that range. Probably Jermod McCoy and Colton Hood, the 2 Tennessee guys, would be on the table, and kind of depends who you talk to, but I think McCoy might be a little bit more interesting. He didn't play last year, but a good player nonetheless. And again, linebacker would be in play possibly as well, but trade down, other, maybe it's move for a veteran before we even get to the draft. That's obviously a strong possibility, or, in the remote, span of possibilities there. So I don't know, I think it'd be nice to get 2 young bucks and have them sign up for 5 years and be fixtures on that defense. But it wouldn't be shocking to see Dallas move 1 or possibly both for the right veteran. We'll see.
Were you amused to see the Rams do what they did earlier today? I mean, it's the most on-brand thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Getting rid, they drafted 1 guy, right? 1 first-round pick since 2017. I guess that was Jared Verse.
Yep.
A couple of years ago. But what'd you think about how both teams came out in that deal?
Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, the Chiefs have kind of done this thing before with L'Jarius Sneed, sending him away, and seemingly at the peak of his powers too, which always makes people go no, and you've seen several Chiefs players react to it on social media today. A lot of disappointment, it seems like, in their messages, but. Yeah, I think it's obviously a pretty decent price for LA to pay, given that they got that extra first rounder from Atlanta, still have 1 to play with, could keep it, could pedal it, could move down, get more picks, could do a lot of different things. That's less needs, like you said, it's on brand for them. And it's crazy to think how few of those picks they've actually held on to. But when you're getting back, veterans at premium positions and players still in the height of their careers, I think it makes total sense. You have to have a guy to cover, the San Francisco wideouts and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you have to have guys who can match up with Marvin Harrison Jr. and those guys in the division. And that secondary just wasn't reliable at the end of last season. They had too many busts, too many questions at corner, too little depth across the board. And, it felt like they had to make this kind of move.
All right. Indulge me for a minute on my Baylor stuff.
Sure.
All my Baylor ties, because we got a large Central Texas audience and Baylor fans throughout the country, Eric, as you might assume, right? But Michael Trigg, the tight end prospect, who obviously Baylor was his 3rd school, certainly there were some maturity issues even as he arrived at Baylor. But I will say, for the scouts I've talked to, he turned some of that around with how he was at Baylor. And then last year he had this enormous breakout season with Sawyer Robertson as his quarterback. Sadiq blew everybody away, the Oregon tight end, with his numbers at the combine. We'll see what Trigg, I guess, does at his pro day. But where are you on Michael Trigg, and how much do you feel like the character stuff might still be something people are talking about with him, or do you think he's kind of moved past a lot of that?
I think you're right to say that last year was a better year for him, not only on the football field, but also in terms of the maturity questions that have kind of followed him around a little bit. There were still some times where you'd like to see his play intensity ratchet up a little bit, where he takes a play off or kind of loses concentration on some stuff. I don't think it's a major concern. You see it from other guys too, but man, he was one of my favorite players to watch. Josh Cameron too, but Michael Trigg, and especially after I talked to Drew Fabianich, who was obviously in Dallas for many years in the scouting department, now running the Senior Bowl. And, Drew was really excited about Michael going down to the Senior Bowl. Didn't get him. He backed out, didn't work out at the combine, or, didn't do the full workout anyway. And it's disappointing, right? I mean, you want to see a full picture. We're anxious people. We draft Knicks, and without the full spectrum of workouts, you're connecting some dots, but, great length, kind of built like that wide receiver in a tight end's body, or tight end in a wide receiver's body, whatever you want to say. And, just is a mismatch piece, I think, in the secondary, or against safety, against the linebacker, too fast for those guys. Does a great job with his body in terms of walling off defenders. Great in the red zone. Again, there's some stuff where it's like his game still can develop a little bit, but had we not seen those monster workouts from Eli Stowers and Kenyon Sadiq, I think he was, sort of an intriguing guy coming into the offseason. Now he's got a little work to make up. And, the pro day will be important for him, and the interviews will be important to make sure that, if we use a second or third round pick on this guy, I think he's a day 2 guy, if I had to guess. Are you gonna make it worth our while, and can we trust you? But there's a lot to like there, and he's a player that I think has some upside.
I think Josh Cameron is one of the cleanest, as far as from an interview standpoint, some of the things we were talking about, and I think they told me what he tweaked, and it was his agent did, but he didn't get to work out, and I think he was very disappointed because he'd worked really, really hard to be ready to do that. But I think he blows people away in his interviews, and you got to see him at the Senior Bowl. He's an interesting prospect. What stands out to you about Josh Cameron, and where do you project him? Because he may not have that prototypical high top end speed, but then he does have some unique traits. I know that teams will like.
Yeah, I mean, built like a running back, real thick guy. Watching him at the Senior Bowl move as well as he did was exciting. Obviously, you see him catching punts in college. You don't typically see somebody that large, or almost built like a box safety. It's sort of intimidating physical presence there, and a guy who just seems to get open and catch the ball when it's thrown to him. I mean, you don't really see drops on his tape. He doesn't have that elite burst, like you said, but he's clever. He maximizes his athletic traits and can break tackles. I really thought the practices in Mobile kind of bumped him up for me. I really felt like it wasn't anything, one particular moment or play, but just kept showing up time and time again. And I felt like, with a clever offensive coordinator, somebody who knows how to use him the right way, you can put him in the backfield, you can motion him, you can put him in the slot. I think that's probably where he's best, is as a kind of a thicker slot receiver. You can use him on some tight end like routes, even if he is still a wide receiver. But, again, just that nice thicker build that presents some matchup issues for teams. So as for where he gets picked, it's a good question. I don't know that I've gotten any feedback specifically on him. There might be a wide range. It could be from the mid third to the early fifth or something like that. But if he runs well, and if we see a little bit, more information on him testing wise, then I could be willing to adjust that. Big hands, good length for a shorter guy. I mean, big, long arms, good broad frame, kind of like you said, unique body type and unique game.
All right. And then Sawyer Robertson, who, character-wise off the charts, put up great numbers. The previous season, I mean, his numbers were he had some of the best numbers in the country when he kind of led Baylor back. This year, I would say, made some mistakes, and maybe the rating wasn't what it was the season before, but certainly like great leader, unbelievable guy. Is this a kind of late, somebody might take a shot at him late in the draft? Is that kind of where you're seeing that go?
Probably. If he gets drafted, it's going to be on the later end. Athletically, he did well. I mean, at the combine, I thought he tested better than I expected him to. And he's got a pro sort of build. I mean, 6'4", 215, whatever he is, 220. He's got an arm that I think would rate as comparable to most NFL or to several NFL quarterbacks. But he kind of strikes me as a see it, throw it kind of guy. I don't know that his anticipation skills are off the charts, which is a little concerning for a fifth-year guy. But, for the most part, I mean, he seemed to understand his protections well, seemed to hold up well against pressure, would stand in there and make some throws and amid some heat. Felt like had just enough athletic ability, or, it translated enough to where he could pick up a first down as a runner if he needed to. And made some tight window throws that you want to see, but there's still a little bit of an anticipation question I have for him. And that's probably the one thing. And, some of that arm strength kind of, it seems to die out when he's throwing those longer perimeter throws and those deep shots on the outside. Ball would hang up there a little bit, but in a year where the quarterback class is, I wouldn't say panned, but not beloved by evaluators. You have Mendoza, you have Simpson, you have a couple other guys in the round 3-4 mix, and then a lot of question marks. So, when you paint it like that, I think he comes as a, what you're going to get kind of guy. Maybe a tiny bit of upside, but really it's more of a, what you've seen over 5 years is close to what you're going to get.
All right. Well, that unbelievable stuff. And I could keep you all day, and you may feel like I already have, but I just, I love having you after these big events. And, I start bugging you on day one, and then I just have to stay on you a little bit, but you're always great. By the way, who would you say of the 13 Aggies, and by the way, they may end up having as many as, it's just crazy how many like draft grades y'all have put on. And again, these are not all guys. Obviously, a ton of these guys are portal guys. They've, like Cassius Howell that they got from Bowling Green, and a couple of years with him. But I think it speaks very highly of the program. Of all those linemen, including Howell as an edge guy, the two, I'm thinking of Regis was very impressive in his workout. I know some of the numbers he put up. And then on Edholm, however you say his name, who was the best Aggie? Like if you had to say the 1 and 2 of this class, Concepcion seems to be a guy that people are falling in love with too. But who jumped of all those Aggies? Yeah. Did anybody sort of rise in your mind, or did they just kind of confirm what you thought about most of them?
Yeah, for the most part, I think it was that. Concepcion, we didn't get a 40 time on, but boy, he looked good in the gauntlet drill. And what were the questions about him coming into the combine? Concentration drops. That was really a big sort of bugaboo about him. And I think that helps. And if he keeps, showing that, hey, that's not as big an issue as it may seem, I think he'll do well. I think he's somewhere in that 20 to 40 range overall. But the guy that I think probably opened my eyes the most, the workout was fantastic, was Chase Bissonis. I thought he was, and I had him as a real nice sort of high floor, clean prospect. But now I'm wondering if I didn't maybe undersell his upside a little bit too. And I think he's going to go pretty high, maybe early to mid second round or something like that. Howell kind of remains to be seen because he is such an outlier. Let me try to think of another one. The one who interests me kind of as a curiosity is Demetrius Crownover. Seeing him at the Senior Bowl, you saw the tools. Like you said, you looked at him, first of all, interesting guy. I mean, former tight end, really has built out his body a little bit, still learning the position of tackle, but I can see it. Like developmental tackle, I think he'd be a fascinating pick on day 3 somewhere. And I would invest in him. I would take the time to develop him, make him a swing tackle early, figure out his best spot. Maybe he's a guard, but that sort of thing. And good project, I think.
Yeah, and his dad played at Baylor, by the way. It always kills me, those legacies. Like, wait a second.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, that Oklahoma linebacker from a couple of years ago, his dad was a tight end, Stutzman, Danny Stutzman.
Yeah,
his dad was a tight end at Baylor. And speaking of Baylor legacies, by the way, keep your eye on. I always like to give you something for the future, but this is a guy you've seen because I know you do watch the SEC. But what I would love is for this time next year, DJ Lagway to have such a huge breakout year at Baylor that you're having to study him, and he's at the combine, and everybody's monitoring his progress. Well, I don't know if that'll happen, but that'd be great.
When all the college football fans panned him, we don't want DJ Lagway in the portal, no way, I tell you, there are a lot more coaches who said, I'll work with that kid. And Baylor got a really talented guy who had some moments. So I hope I do.
All right. Great to have you. And to your family, hello. And thank you for the time. And I will be with you soon, man. I love it. We'll let you wrap up the draft. And then as you're trying to come up for air, I'll get the grades on and all that kind of stuff. But
you got it.
Really appreciate it, Eric. Always fun to have you on.
Looking forward to you, Matt. See you again, Matt.
All right. Just keep that hair going. There he goes. Eric Edholm from the NFL.com. He is their lead draft expert. For years, I had their lead NFL Network guy, Daniel Jeremiah, on, but they're both incredible. They just do it in a little different way. But as you can tell, there's almost nobody you could come up with that he couldn't tell you about. Kevin will be mad at me because I did have it written down to get his take on Pons, kind of but I know NFL.com had him as like on their all combine team. Kevin, they put him as their all combine cornerback. He was like the top. He was one of the top guys. And so D'Angelo Pons, because of his size, will probably not go until the second round, but still unbelievable for a 5'9" dude who even places like Akron didn't want to recruit him coming out of high school and went on to have an unbelievable career with the Indiana Hoosiers. That was our time with Eric Edholm from the NFL, from NFL.com and NFL Network. Next, it is going to be time for some Campus Confidential. That is next.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It is the Mosley Show, and we like bringing you great interviews. We really, just like visiting with you about a number of things, but that was pretty cool. And Eric's a longtime buddy of mine, always willing to come on, and great to have him with us. Man, I got something across my desk earlier today, and I love talking about Alan Samuels. Ted Teague, GM out there, is a great friend of mine. So I've been kind of wondering, I wonder what they'll do in March. And Kevin, double check me on this. I think we're in March, right? Okay, I think that's right. It's the declaration of deals at Alan Samuels in Waco. $11,500 off 2025 Jeep Wrangler Sahara. $12,500 off the 2025 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon, $12,900 off 2025 Ram 2500 Laramie. Will cover your sales tax and no payments for 90 days. Goodness. Hurry, these deals won't last. Only at Alan Samuels, your friend in the car business. Goodness gracious. I mean, that is really a sight to behold there. And so wanted to bring that to your attention. And also one more thing while we're on this, this longest running card show in Central Texas, Texas Sports Hall of Fame Collectors Show. That's March 20th and 21st. It's coming up. It's 2 weeks away. At the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, come meet former Pittsburgh Steeler Greg Hawthorne and former San Antonio Spur Alvin Robertson on Friday. On Saturday, former Dallas Cowboys great Mel Renfro. Now that right there that's royalty. Beasley Reese, it's broadcasting royalty and great player, and he lives in Central Texas. And former Baylor great Lake Seastrunk. Wow. Former Baylor and Oregon great and Temple great. Show hours are Friday, 11 a.m. till 5 and Saturday, 9 a.m. till 4. For more information, visit theautographsync.com. S-I-N-K. Theautographsync.com. All right, give it a go. I like that. I like that kind of deal. And I've broadcasted before at that event. Happy to again if Brett or anybody needs me out there. Happy to do it. Happy to also tell you, Kevin, that made me think of it saying that name. Brett Tully And the fine folks at Schmaltz's have re-upped. All right, Schmaltz's, the greatest sandwich shop in all of Texas. And, of course, Kevin, we got our trivia Thursday. We'll do tomorrow, and we'll give out a couple of those sandwiches. And we gotta get those to our people. They're asking me, where's my sandwiches? I'll take care of you, okay? Although I'm not great at doing that, but Schmaltz's is, and we'll get it to you. This is awesome. I love the sandwiches. I love the bread. Love everything about the place. Love the downtown location. Also Valley Mills. I think that one's open a little later, but the one downtown's open until about 3 daily. And that's right over there on, kind of around Franklin and 5th. And right kind of within, you can come out the door and you can look over and see the Alico building. All right. But I love that location for some reason, just because it's been there forever. And that's where I went as a Baylor student. And then as a Baylor law student, I was over there. I'd also go by, anyway, I'm not going to say it for anybody else that's not paying us. Started to say one of my other stops back then, but they'll have to pay us to get that mentioned. Thank you, Schmaltz. Thank you for what you do. All right. Mosley Show continues on. We got more NFL stuff coming up. In fact, had a major trade today, and that we'll talk about. And the Cowboys have been doing some things. And then we may actually hear from Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones had some things to say on his luxury bus over the weekend from the Combine, and we may share some of that with you. But right now, Kev, I'd like to focus on Campus Confidential. Oh, thank you, CNB. Oh, look at it down there, Kev. Just one of the great banks in the state of Texas. Locate a couple of locations in Waco, the one in Temple and one in Austin. Wow. Thank you for those great commercials. Thank you for your acting chops. Those are great commercials. And Nikki Collin, we're having trouble with TCU. Tell you what, Kevin, one thing I'm going to slow down here is my buddies on a group text are hammering me about something. And so I'm going to turn that off because I'm tired of seeing that come in. It's a famous Baylor singer-songwriter, Kev, who may end up being part of the lineup for Baylor's new concert series.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yes. Baylor's chief marketing officer. Kevin, can we get all his titles on the screen?
Oh, I can get it.
Okay, good. Yeah. Good. I was worried because
we may not be room for his face, but
hey, if you've seen Jason Cook's hair, it's a beautiful pompadour. And I think he's been frustrated with me at times. People stay frustrated at me, but in the end, he's a good friend, and he's going to come on and we're going to talk about, because I think that was his brainchild. Was this new, and of course, Doug McNamee's the one who basically hatched this plan, like the year of the fan. Now, the next thing he'll have to do is like win games, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. The women's team basketball, they're top 20, okay? Let's give them some slack.
Hey, they started great.
The Baylor baseball team
started great.
They've done some things that excite me. They went out to Stephenville last night, and they got their rears beat 6-5. All right.
Men's tennis still top 10.
All right. Women's tennis, I like that they got beat, but it was a tough-fought battle with Arizona State the other day, and I think they beat Arizona recently.
Yep.
So they've got talent, and they've got a good coach. We just have to kind of have everything come together. So there are good teams at Baylor. The people that do all the flips, and they hoist the people up and do a pyramid, acro and tumbling.
Acro. Yeah.
We're good at that.
Uh-huh.
And I think the horses
Equestrian,
are good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Our horse people are good. But our football, we're waiting. Our men's basketball has been a flat line this year compared to usual. In women's basketball, we can't beat TCU. And unfortunately, right now that's kind of overshadowing all my positive thoughts on the program. All right. All right, Kev,
All right.
You think I should bring Jason Cook on tomorrow and just pepper him with women's basketball questions? What's the deal with the program? Okay,
because that's his area of expertise. Yeah.
No, he does everything, man. All right. Let me get my shirt straight.
Let's talk about some other programs. Okay, last night was another upset city again in college basketball. With Georgia over Alabama, TCU flipping Tech as
I called that. I called that.
You said that they would cover.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said that they would win.
Okay.
But they did actually. That's why I said they flipped it, because they actually flipped those odds completely, and won by the Tech odds. UCLA crushed Nebraska. Arizona State exposed Kansas. But did you see the St. John's comeback on Georgetown at MSG?
No. What happened?
That was
there?
what I was watching. I actually had that game on. I put it on, even though St. John's was dead. Patino dead
in the water. Dead in the water.
It was 36 points, I think, with 12 minutes left.
Wait a second. Tell me how much it really was. I didn't know it was that crazy big.
It was bad.
Yeah.
They were just dead.
Yes.
I think
dead
it was
in the water.
7 minutes left. They were still down by double digits.
Right.
Don't
that's
quote me.
A lot different than 36. So you're
no. I was saying they
only
only
a lot of crazy stuff.
They only had 36 points in the second half.
Oh, I see. You had me. Okay, here's the deal.
Into the second half, they only had 36 points. 7 minutes left. They were done, and MSG just came to life, and St. John's just started hitting everything. Georgetown went cold, and St. John's ended up pulling it out.
All right, let me just tell you this. On that game that you were just talking about, Zuby Ejiofor scores 23 for St. John's in the comeback.
Yep.
I love the comeback because that Georgetown coach is a crybaby. There's bigger things in this country than us losing or winning a basketball game. Ed, what are you paid to be there to do? Talk about what's happening in Iran? Talk about what's happening in Minnesota? Or are you there to coach basketball games? I'm all for social justice and what the previous coach for John Thompson did when he talked about equity and talked about civil rights and things like that. I'm all there for it because John Thompson was an unbelievable man and unbelievable coach. But you know what John Thompson also did? He won a ton of basketball games.
Yep.
So that made it okay for him to be saying, this is not happening. They're not hiring these people, and I'm mad about this. This guy whines about, if I don't win another game, I'll be Ed, save that for somebody else. Go back to Providence.
Well, welcome to Washington, D.C.
Rallying from drain the swamp. All right, rallying from a 12-point second half deficit. Okay, so yeah, they were down for the count. Georgetown had a chance to get a big one, and here came the big time St. John's. Now I don't know what to make St. John's though, because they got crushed by UConn. Who beat them 72-40? Was that UConn?
Yep.
They got crushed. Then they came back, had a big win. Then they had to come back last night. I don't trust them in the tournament, but I think their ceiling is high. I mean, I think they're a legit Sweet 16 contender. Do I think they could make it to the Elite Eight? Maybe. I'll tell you who's a fraud, and I hate to say it because I do like DeBonsa way more than Darren Peterson, because DeBonsa shows up every night, and he knows the game plan is going to be to stop him. And does DeBonsa ever go, Coach, I'm not feeling it tonight. Oh, I got a little cold. Oh, I got the flu. He shows up. What do they do? What do they do lately? They just lose. BYU's now 8-8 in conference.
They don't play defense.
Baylor put 90 on them. Baylor put 90 on them. Baylor put a bunch of points on Arizona. Baylor beat UCF at UCF. Like, this will get me in trouble because I'll be like, oh, you're just being nice to Scott. Okay, it's a horrible year for Baylor.
Yeah.
All right, let's just make that statement. There's no like, this makes it better. This makes it no. But like, what he's done late in the season, getting them to be competitive.
Yeah, they have gotten better and shown improvement. You're right.
Yes. And that kid, I think if they had it to do all over again, they would do something like what our buddy told us when he came on, early in the year when they were just getting run out of the building by Houston and everybody else. Heck, our buddy from Kansas, who's the lawyer, came on with us, and he told us that there was one move they could make it might not help, but it might possibly have some help at saving the season. And his thought was make Isaac Williams the starting point guard right now. This was when Baylor was like 0-3 or something. And Baylor waited, but when they did it, the season changed. Not like, oh, they're going to be in the tournament changed, but they became a different team because they've gotten that kid to improve a ton, and he's functioning like a point guard.
Yeah.
The thing they can't do in the future, they had to learn their lesson. Obi Agbum, not a point guard at Wyoming, so you can't project to go, well, I think we can make him a point guard. No. If he's not really a good point guard at Wyoming, he's definitely not going to be a good point guard at Baylor in the Big 12 in a high major. All right. So I started out complimenting Scott, then I got mad. All right. What else do we have?
All right. So speaking of one of those upsets, and Dabonsa and Peterson. Peterson plays more and Kansas wins less. I kind of threw this out there I think last week. He played 35 minutes, 15 points, 2 of 11 from distance, and only 3 of 18 overall. But his one redeemer was 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Do you agree that Peterson is now definitely a problem for Kansas, and they may actually be better without him?
Okay, here's the deal. They have had a couple of really big wins without him, basically. And I get the thought. Let me just say this. They're running out of time, so I don't think they're going to figure it out. But their ceiling is still higher with him. So I agree with your premise to a certain extent. If the goal is to win some games at the end of the Big 12 and maybe even win in the Big 12 tournament, maybe without him they're better. Their only shot of getting to a Final Four is for them to figure it out with him. And I think they're running out of time, and I don't think it's going to happen. But I still stick to that. That's my opinion on it. So, like, if your opinion, Kevin, is bench him the rest of the year or have him come up with an injury, which he's pretty good at doing, and not play the rest of the season, does Kansas have a better chance of going deep in the tournament? My answer is no. I like Melvin, and I like the kid number 3, White, and I like I even like the big guy. Who's their big guy? Why can I not think of this? It's not a bongo. It's like Kevin, you should know this too.
I'm
get mad
looking
at myself. No, but we should both know this. He's a Badonga. Badonga. Yeah, Badonga. Okay.
Yeah,
I knew if I thought hard enough, it would come to me. But they're wasting a great player. And it's not their fault totally. The player, it seems to be a head case. And then, like in last night's game, he was awful. I mean, Arizona State's about to fire its coach. They've had how funny is that? They've had 2 or 3 court storms. They beat Tech there when Tech was in the top 10 or 15. They beat Kansas top 15, and they storm the court every time, and they're going to fire Bobby Hurley. And I get it. He's in the last year of his contract, and he hasn't been good enough. Do I think the next person is going to be better than Bobby Hurley? Maybe not. But I understand why they're moving on from him. But what a nice way to go out with a few wins.
Right.
Who do we think is better between Arizona State, Cincinnati, TCU, and UCF?
TCU, hands down.
I don't think it's hands down. I think it's between UCF and TCU. I think they've both shown. But see, Cincinnati's the hottest team of all those. Cincinnati's won 6 of their last 7 games, or 5 of their last 6. They're the hottest of these teams. UCF got on a run and then has cooled off and lost to Baylor and lost to Oklahoma State. I don't know. These are good. These are interesting things to think about, but I tend to maybe lean your direction because what did TCU go and do? They went to an extremely hostile environment, and it was no fluke. They led Tech start to finish. And as much as I like giving TCU a hard time, that guy can coach. I don't love him because he's a weirdo. And I like weirdos. Okay, it sounds like I'm an anti-weirdo guy. I mean, my gosh, I'm friends with Kevin. But I think that Jamie Dixon can coach. And at times I've not wanted to admit that, but I think I have to admit that Jamie Dixon can flat out coach. Because let's not act like that team's loaded. That the guy that's become their best player was not even a starter most of the season. Not David Punch, but who is their best player now? It's like number 24. He's kind of a big burly guy, but he's good. He's become really good. And Dixon's the one who's put that whole thing together. Right now, if I had to say the best coaches in the Big 12, I would still, just based on body of work over the years, I would put Bill Self 1, Kelvin Sampson 2, Scott Drew 3, Tommy Lloyd from Arizona. No. I'd put Grant McCaslin 4, Tommy Lloyd 5, and then I would put Jamie Dixon 6. And then I don't know, from there, maybe the BYU coach and a few others.
Xavier Edmonds. That's who you're thinking of.
That guy's good. That guy's good. You got to get a trim, Kevin. That beard is really, that has expanded into a scary, it's scaring people. I've had people text me offline. They're like, he's scaring me. No, that hasn't really happened. Kevin, what else do you have? Campus Confidential.
Florida and Miami, Ohio seem to kind of be going in slightly different directions. Not as far as results, but as far as Florida obliterating opponents, while Miami's just squeaking out wins against lesser teams. What would be more surprising at this point? Florida with a first-round exit in the tournament, or Miami making it to the Final Four?
Okay, that's interesting, Kevin. Good for you. I'm going to go with Florida losing in the first round because it just doesn't. It's only happened that one time, and it happened to Virginia, and it took a special set of circumstances because University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the Retrievers were way better than a 16 seed, so they were underseeded. And Tony, as great a coach as he is, he didn't really coach offense. And so you needed a very offensively challenged team to go up against a 16 seed that was way underseeded, and it happened. It may happen again, but it will not happen to the Florida Gators, because all they do, I mean, they're just out there chomping people. Let me like if you had to say to me, Matt, name, because I heard you say this the other day, you're like, well, Matt, I think Alabama and somebody else are good. Nah, they're not even close. Not even close to Florida. Who'd you say? You said Alabama, Vandy, or Arkansas. Yeah. Good teams. Good teams. Nothing against them. Nate Oates, he likes to cheat and he likes to win. And he likes to bring in players, get injunctions and stuff like that. What'll be hilarious, Bediako's still challenging that thing. That'd be hilarious if he somehow showed up for the NCAA tournament. They found some judge. The biggest upset is that judge in Alabama ruled against the Tide. I mean, I would go into witness protection if I was a judge in Alabama. If you did that against a football, they don't care about basketball as much. If you ruled against an Alabama football player, I think you would have to leave the country or go into witness protection.
Yeah,
because those judges, man, that's scary.
Yeah,
that people get it out for them no matter what. But I mean, especially doing something like this. What else do you have, buddy?
Right,
that's a good one. That's been a great one.
Last one for you. Does Baylor have a chance at Houston tonight on their senior night?
No. The thing I love about the way they've played recently, though, because I was at which game was I? I was at the BYU game, and I got to sit on the front row, thanks to I got this great buddy Chris Petrie who hooked me up. I don't know if he wants his name out there, but he's good insurance man. And I mean, almost all of these games, the only time they've played horribly in the past 6 to 8 games is at K-State. They just didn't take their heart out there. It was like they all felt sorry for Jerome and the team, and that was a weird deal. They just stepped into a buzzsaw. All right. I guess they were win one for the Gipper type deal. Here's what I pray happens tonight. Okay. Not that I sit around asking God. Well, maybe I have in the past, but I want the Bears to do what they've been doing, and I want them to throw some haymakers, get some dunks going. The scary thing about this game is the Houston crowd, because it's senior night, and Kelvin has guys like Sharp, Usan, Mercy, Miller. He has guys that stay around for a long time, and they'll probably even treat Kingston and Sanaa, because they'll probably go in the draft. They may treat them like seniors. I don't know. But it's going to be a huge night there in Houston. And I could just see all of that emotion and the fan support really putting the Bears in a tough spot. So Bears have to take care of the ball and have to survive early. If they can get to the 10-minute mark of the first half, if they're within 4 or 5 at the half, then it's game on. I fear they could be down by 20 points at halftime. Okay. Yeah, that's what I fear. But I love the Bears, and I want the best for them. But they're running into a rough situation tonight. They're at whatever they call the place, the Fertitta Center. I still like to call it the Hallfines Pavilion, Hallfines Arena. God, I loved Hallfines. I liked Autry Court that Rice had. I liked G. Raleigh White. They used to call it the Holler House on the Brazos. I liked HOT where Baylor played. I don't really have great memories of that place though, because I went to all the Baylor football games, but I can't say that I went to a ton of Baylor basketball games. What we did is every year, Dad and I went to the SWC basketball tournament. And that was the greatest thing ever. I mean, Kevin, that was like, you're an Indiana guy, so just think of going to the Big Ten tournament and the height of that, Isaiah Thomas and all those people, or when Magic was playing at Michigan State. This was before you were born, Kevin. But imagine all those kind of people all being at one place. And so we'd go over to the Hyatt Regency, and there would be Akeem and Clyde Drexler and Eddie Sutton, the Arkansas coach, and Scott Hastings. And then a few years later, you would, as I got my teenage years, it was Nolan Richardson and Todd Day and Lee Mayberry and Ron Hury and Corey Beck and the big O Oliver Miller. Okay. It was kind of like seeing the Beatles or something. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm seeing these people in person. It was unbelievable. All right. Is anybody still listening to this? All right. It's the Mosley Show. Kevin and I will power on. It is 2:34 Central Time. We are going to talk some NFL. Big trade in the NFL earlier today. A first-round pick was traded for an all-pro cornerback. And then we'll hear the latest of what Jerry is wanting to do as the Cowboys today restructured a bunch of contracts to get under the cap. We'll tell you who is restructured and what it means. It's all next.
The selection here at Allen Samuels is great. They have a wide selection of vehicles. They go anywhere from a car to an SUV to a truck. I'm more of a car person myself. That's why I got the Chrysler 300 last. But my wife is looking for an SUV, which they have a lot of choices at. Anybody that's looking for a vehicle, I would recommend Allen Samuels.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Okay, that was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh yes, I love assist.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Everybody at Ecolife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops. Made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work.
No, thank you.
Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
All right, it's the Mosley Show. And Kev, we were doing some major college basketball talk there. I noticed Fran Fraschilla, who comes on this show quite a bit, he says he's happy for Arizona men's basketball that center Mo Krivas, because the draft now, they have him going late in the first round. And then Fran put out, this was yesterday, he put out a list of reasons he should come back to Arizona. He says, now, if he leads Arizona to a title and plays great, Tommy Lloyd will push him out the door. My guess is he stays right now at Arizona. Now, Kev, what I've asked Fran to do tonight, he's going to be on the Baylor-Houston game. Because Baylor's had a bad year, Fran has not gotten to do a lot of Baylor games. I've asked Fran to put a list together of reasons Cam Carr should stay at Baylor. And maybe even Tunde, but it's hard to imagine Tunde not turning pro. Although, Kev, there was one mock draft I just saw yesterday, a day before, that had him going like 28th or 29th instead of the usual. I mean, it's not like he's gotten worse. He's had some great games recently. I think he's gotten better throughout the season. He put up huge points early, but that was a lot of times it was against bad teams. I don't know why they're dropping him in these mock drafts. But if there's some chance Tunde Yesufu may drop into the second round, bring him back. Bring him back to BU. All right? I don't think that's going to happen, though. All right, Kev. The NFL continues as the world turns. And the Cowboys, well, let's do this trade first. We'll do the Cowboys here in a second. The Chiefs traded their top cornerback, Trent McDuffie, to the Rams for 4 draft picks. In April, the Chiefs exercised the 5th-year option in McDuffie's contract, making his 2026 salary of $13.6 million fully guaranteed. The Chiefs will they get the 29 pick from the Rams, and then they get the 2026 5th and 6th round picks and the 2027 3rd round pick. It's not bad. It's not a bad haul. Good player. Good player. Now, Rams like players. Rams like veterans. They'll probably try to get a long-term deal done with Trent McDuffie. Okay, you don't do this. You don't trade a first-round pick for some kind of rental type deal. So they'll get this thing done. So they needed cornerbacks. They needed help with their DBs, and they got it. They got it. And man, I was just sitting here thinking, Kevin, all that stuff we got from Eric Edholm today. Wow, that was really good draft information. And we'll have to get that out to all our people on the, we'll put out our podcast of that, all that kind of good stuff. Kev, do you have that graphic that shows the Rams? First of all, they've only used a first round pick or had a first round pick once since 2017. And it was in 2024 with Jared Verse, and they hit on that. He's been great. He's been incredible. I mean, it's hilarious. Who hasn't done business with them? Who hasn't done business? I mean, the Lions loved it so much they got in there with those 2 picks, and of course that was the Jared Goff for Stafford deal that those 2 picks came from. Jaguars did it 2021. Kev, remind me, were those picks to come up and take the quarterback? Is that what the Jags did? I'm just trying to think of the traded to the Jags, those 2 picks. Were the Jags coming up to get those picks to take Trevor? I'm just trying to think what the situation that was there. It's unbelievable. They just prefer trading those picks. And that is where the old phrase F them picks. Okay, I'm not going to say the actual, that would shock my
the Jags
mother too much.
2020, I don't know which one of these came from the Rams. They had C.J. Henderson and Clovan Casson. You're chasing?
Yeah, but they obviously gave up those picks for a player, right? The Rams.
Right.
Why would the Jags got those
the Jags
picks both years? So who the Jags send back to them?
I'm not sure. That's I would have to do some more digging. In 21, though, that's when they had Trevor was theirs number 1 overall, but then they.
But that's what I'm trying to say. They may have done both of those picks to move up to get Trevor where they did.
No, they were bad enough to get Trevor on their own in 20
without having to trade up.
Well, but they got ETN in that same draft in the first round. So
all right, well, Kevin, he'll continue his research. The man loves some good research, mainly on Big Ten basketball. But last night he got caught up in Big East. The Big East. I don't know. He's just like, oh man, I'm watching this St. John's. St. John's came rolling back. All right, Cowboys have also been active, and today, and the Cowboys reworked. They've gotten under the $301.2 million salary cap.
I found it.
What was it?
The Rams in 2020 got Jalen Ramsey. And in 21, let's see. I don't see the 21, but
you know who the Cowboys took instead of drafting Jalen Ramsey? 2016. I think that was the year they took Zeke. That was one of the final times that somebody used that high a pick. I want to say whatever year that was, 2016 draft, because he and Dak were rookies together. I think the Cowboys, for whatever reason, they must have had an awful year the year before. I think they were, because probably Romo got hurt, probably, but they picked 4th, I think. Yeah. And they picked Zeke, and that was probably the last time until, and again, I don't know when it'll happen again. That's probably the last time.
Bijan was 8 a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the last time somebody had a top 5 pick on a running back.
Yep.
And by the way, Zeke, it's hard to argue with. I know they didn't do anything in the playoffs, but Zeke had an incredible run with the Cowboys. And then they did, on his second contract, they did he held out and they folded, and it ended up being a horrible contract. But his first contract, he was awesome. Cowboys have restructured the contracts of quarterback Dak Prescott, receiver CeeDee Lamb, and left guard Tyler Smith, who also doubles as a left tackle at times. The restructuring cleared around $66 million in space. I think the Cowboys they love restructuring. They should restructure while they're doing the original contract. They should just say, okay, let's go ahead. Let's agree to something, and then let's restructure it before you sign it. They love it. And other teams do this too. But I don't know if anybody loves it more than the Cowboys. The Cowboys have wide receiver George Pickens right now on the cap at $27.3 million. But a long-term deal would give them more room to spend. All right. That makes sense to everybody, I think, because that means they would take that amount. And while it's a big amount per season, from a salary cap standpoint, you would spread it out over 3 or 4 seasons, depending on whatever you do the deal with George Pickens. All right. Jones said from the NFL scouting combine, the team will also rework the deals of defensive tackles Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and Osa Odigizua, who are scheduled to count $63 million against the cap to add more cap room. And this is Jerry's kind of John Wayne moment of the combine. Like we almost need, Kev, some like Western music to play behind this. This is kind of Jerry's high noon moment, if you prefer, like the old Gary Cooper movie. Who did High Noon? Who directed that? John Ford. Anyway, I want you to know that the only way to push more out is for me to go borrow some of my future, okay? Jones said last week from the NFL scouting combine, expect me to go borrow some of my future. Love it. Love it. That was Jerry just kind of, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I expect to do. We talked about it a little bit, Kev. We don't want to get too much into, we don't want this to turn into your Colts podcast, but Alec Pierce had some quotes I noticed where, Kev, and that's the Colts wide receiver who put up some staggering numbers over the last 2 seasons. He will be allowed to go to test free agency. And the quotes I saw, Kevin, were basically him saying, I've earned this right. I've earned the right to go do this. And that's fine. They could have put the same franchise tag that they put on Pickens, and that would have been a placeholder for $27.3 million. They decided to do a transition tag for Daniel Jones, and that becomes a placeholder for about $37 million, right around $37 million for next season, the transition tag. Now, Kev has one thing I haven't looked for. Did Daniel Jones have any comments about this? Did you see like, hey, I hope we get something done? Did he or his representation have any response to being transition tagged?
Nothing. Lot of comments from the Colts sphere, but nothing from Daniel Jones. I saw a graphic of his cycle where he gets to a new team, has a great season, gets paid, and then turns into a terrible quarterback again, forgets how to play. And so we are right about at the time where that turns into him being forgetting how to play. Check's about to clear. We'll see how that works.
All right. Speaking of checks, this man writes a lot of them. He's written some good ones, written some bad. Well, doesn't really write bad checks. I think all his checks clear. Man, I'm staring at all this information right now, Kev. Like Josh Cameron. I mean, for people that are just joining us, where have you been? But we had Eric Edholm from the NFL.com, NFL Network, on earlier. And man, he gave us a lot of great draft stuff. So, Kev, we'll have Jason Cook on to talk about that new concert series from Baylor tomorrow. I don't think it would be bad. And I'll look through and see our best things to use. But some of those shorts, some of those things we might use on the show tomorrow, because I thought we got some really good information from our draft expert, Eric Edholm, today, of like a 30-minute conversation. Wow. That was really something. What did we have yesterday, Kevin, that I thought was, Josh Cameron. That was good. Man, that was good. All right. It is the Mosley Show. We continue. Kev, let's do that from Jerry Jones was on the luxury bus the other day, and we played just a little bit of it for you. I wanted to play a little bit more, and I wanted to hear Jerry's take on what he thinks, how he thinks they need to approach the defense.
One of the better, that may be a stretch. A defense that could support an offense the way that we played at the level last year and get us into the playoffs and give us a chance to get good after we get in the playoffs. I see that defense this year. I do. And like I told you, we don't have to do much to get better. And I'm not trying to be trite. We just don't have to do much, but better, just better, would not get it done in my mind. We really got to come out and be sound, and I think we've addressed every phase of it. And I think we're very capable of doing not only better, but playing defense at a level that would get us in the playoffs. I believe that strongly. Your three.
Now, usually you would hear that and go, it's just Jerry blowing smoke, whatever. He's not alone in thinking that. They were so loaded on, and they put up good numbers on offense. Now, there were some empty numbers this season. There were some games the offense needed to step up, and it didn't. It's too many times in the analysis of the season, we just look at the total, what yards or what points they average per game, and go, great offense. Great year for Dak. And some of that's true. But you also need to have some nuance to analysis, which is some of those games. They had that really good stretch, and they won like 3 in a row. And then when they really needed to step up, they just faltered. And the offense was just almost as bad as the defense in a couple of those games. And then even earlier when they got beat by, was it Jacksonville or was it Carolina? I think maybe Carolina beat them. I think it was Carolina. Offense didn't do enough. Offense didn't do enough in that game that I recall. I remember some games too where offense would be fine till halftime, then didn't do anything in the second half. So this thought that, oh my gosh, the offense is just perfect, maybe the best offense in the NFL, I'm not there with that. Put up some good numbers, but I'm just saying you kind of have to look at how some of these games played out. All right, let's save the rest, Kev. I mean, we've put in what I like to call an honest day's work. All right? In fact, I'm going to recommend that Rogue sends you like some extra for today. I thought you really brought it. Campus Confidential was strong. We had another unbelievable guest. I think the show is humming. All right? We appreciate Brazos Landing. It is the landing. We land here every day at the end, and we love talking about them. I love talking about the New Orleans bar. I like the alligator bar out there. I know they call it something different, but I call it the alligator bar because I used to go to the old Buzzard Billy's back in the day. And then Buzzards moved out to that spot right by the river, and they did a fine job. And I love the bar and everything. I always liked Buzzard Billy's a lot, especially when I was in undergrad at Baylor. And then in law school, I loved it, but I liked that location when it was. Buzzard Billy's worked better for me over where it used to be. But the Brazos Landing came in with the Lindsay family, and they just took a place like a special property right there on the river. There's only a couple of places that are on the water in Waco. There's one, like a pizza joint out. That's a good place. I don't want to be negative, but it's kind of out toward where Miller's Steakhouse used to be, out that direction. And out by the lake. I used to live out there, out by the Brazos, out on, we used to call that like Brazos Drive. I think it's MLK. It's MLK. It has been MLK for a long time. You take MLK out there, and that's where I used to live when I was in law school. But Brazos Landing, it's just so good, and the views are beautiful. Like even sitting out back, I like that place to sit because you're right up against the water. And then I like with the view, but I love that outdoor bar where you're just, winds blowing in there a little bit off the river. and you're just sitting out there. One of my favorite places to hang out in Waco, at Central Texas. So anyway, the other place I would say, Kev, not that anybody asked me, but that place you can eat some fried shrimp and fried, that there's a place out there that's like on a tank. It's right next to a tank out in Robinson, Cajun place. That place you can be on the water, but there's only select few places that you can just look out at that water and really take it all in. Okay. All right. Mosley Show. That's all we have for today. Tomorrow, we've got a major guest. Kevin, what time did I tell you that is tomorrow? 1:30, Jason Cook? It means we're going to start the show. Anyway, we're fine tomorrow. We may have to start just a few minutes late because I got a big meeting I have to attend. But about 1:15, we'll get rolling. We got a major guest from Baylor, and then we'll roll through the rest of the day. Appreciate everybody that's been a part of this, and appreciate Kevin Hall's excellent work today. I mean, he does the country stuff, then he does the sports. I mean, what does this man not do? It is the Mosley Show. We will see you tomorrow at 1:00.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we ask Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now. I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.